Think of the ocean, not any particular ocean, just the idea of it, the feeling of standing at the edge where land meets water. Maybe you've been there, maybe you remember, or maybe you're imagining it now. Either way, it's real enough. Real in the way memories and dreams are real. Real in the place where experience lives. You're standing at the shore. Feel the sand beneath your feet. It's cool and soft. It shifts slightly with each step. Between your toes, individual grains press against your skin. Some are smooth, some are sharp. Each one a tiny fragment of something that was once solid, now ground down by endless time and water into something gentle. The sand is damp near the water's edge, packed firm. Your footprints leave impressions that fill slowly with seeping moisture. And ahead of you, the ocean. It begins just there, where the sand darkens and grows wet, where the waves reach up and retreat, reach and retreat. Eternal rhythm, breath of the planet. Listen to the sound, not one sound, but many. The crash of larger waves, the hiss of foam spreading across sand, the gentle pull and tumble of water drawing back, the distant boom of breakers farther out. All of it together creates something that isn't quite sound anymore. It's presence, weight, the voice of something vast speaking in a language older than words. Smell the air, salt, brine, that particular sharpness that only exists at the boundary between land and sea. It fills your lungs, coats your skin, gets into your hair, your clothes, the back of your throat. This is what it means to stand at an edge, at a boundary, at the place where one thing becomes another. And the ocean itself stretches before you, extends to the horizon. That perfect line where water meets sky, where blue blends into blue, where distance becomes absolute. You cannot see the far side of the ocean, not from here, not from where you stand, but you know it has one, somewhere, beyond the curve of the earth, beyond more water than you could cross in a lifetime of swimming. There is another shore, another beach, another person, perhaps standing as you are, looking back across the same water. The ocean is vast, but it is not infinite. If you could rise, if you could lift yourself up higher and higher above the beach and the breakers and the boundary between land and sea, if you could climb into the sky and keep climbing until the whole planet spread below you like a map, then you would see it. The ocean as a bounded thing, an island of water on a world of rock. It has edges, shores, places where it begins and ends. It is contained, held, surrounded by something else. And yet, standing here at this shore, with your feet in the sand and the waves before you, it feels infinite. It feels like it could go on forever, like you could walk into it and never reach the other side, never find the bottom, never touch anything but water, endlessly deep, endlessly wide. Both things are true. The ocean is bounded, and it feels boundless. Now imagine something else. Imagine that the universe is like this ocean. All the stars you've ever seen, all the galaxies, all the light and matter and energy scattered across the night sky. All of it like foam on waves, like the white caps and breaking surf. Beautiful, dynamic, constantly moving. But underneath, below, beyond. What if there's something else? Something the stars float upon? Something that holds them the way water holds foam? What if the universe has shores? We've always assumed it doesn't. Assumed that space goes on forever. That if you traveled far enough in any direction, you just find more space, more stars, more galaxies, endlessness without boundary. But what if that's wrong? What if the universe is like the ocean you're standing beside? Vast, yes. Incomprehensibly large, but not infinite, not endless. What if it has edges, boundaries, places where it ends and something else begins? Not empty space, Because empty space is still space, still part of the universe, still the same ocean, but something else, something other, something as different from the universe as air is from water, as sky is from sea, an ocean beyond the ocean of stars. This isn't a new idea, exactly. People have wondered about it for as long as people have wondered about anything. What's outside? What's beyond? Where does it all end? And what's on the other side of the ending? But we usually imagine the answer in familiar terms. More space. Different universes. Maybe, but still universes. Still operating by rules we'd recognize. Still made of things we could name. What if it's stranger than that? What if beyond the universe lies something so fundamentally different that our usual concepts don't apply? Where space isn't, where time doesn't flow, where the laws that govern stars and atoms and light simply aren't written. A different ocean entirely, a depth beyond depths, a mystery holding all the mysteries we know. You're still standing at the shore, still feeling the sand, still hearing the waves. But now, as you look at the water, you're thinking of something else, something vaster. You're imagining the universe itself as an ocean, and you're wondering what lies beyond its horizon. What would it be like to drift there, to leave the shore of everything you know, to float out past the stars and galaxies, past the edge of space itself, into the ocean beyond? Would it be frightening? Would it be peaceful? Would it feel like drowning, or like finally learning to breathe? Tonight, we're going to find out. Not really, of course, not in any literal sense. You're here, in this room, in this body, on this planet. You're not going anywhere. But in imagination, in the deep place where consciousness touches wonder, in the space between waking and sleeping where impossible things become possible. Tonight, we're going to take a journey, together, out past the stars, out past the edge of the universe, into the ocean that holds everything. We're going to drift, not swim, not struggle, just float. Let the tide carry us, trust the current, and we're going to discover what exists in that strange, infinite depth beyond the boundaries of all that is. You can feel it already, can't you? The pull, the invitation, like standing at the ocean's edge and feeling the water lap at your feet, feeling the undertow, the gentle insistence of something vast calling you to wade in, to go deeper, to let go of the shore. The waves keep reaching, keep retreating, reach and retreat. Each one comes a little higher, touches your ankles, your shins, cool and insistent. The ocean is calling. Not this ocean of salt and water, the other one. The ocean beyond the stars, the infinite depth that holds the universe like the sea holds foam. And you're ready. You've been ready. You just needed permission. Needed someone to say it's okay to wonder about impossible things, to imagine beyond the boundaries, to drift past the edges of everything. So let's begin. Let's wade into the water. Let's feel the sand drop away beneath our feet. Let's allow the tide to catch us, to pull us gently out, away from shore, away from the solid ground of certainty, into the deep water of mystery. The journey starts here, at this shore, at this moment, with the feeling of waves against your skin and the vast horizon before you, and the question hanging in the salt air, what lies beyond the edge of everything? We're about to find out. You feel it now. The pull, not sudden, not violent, just a gentle, persistent tug at your feet, at your ankles, at the center of your body where balance lives. The tide, it's moving out, drawing away from shore, and you're standing in it. The water swirls around your legs, cool, alive, moving with purpose. You could resist, could walk back to the beach, plant your feet in the sand and refuse to move, but you don't want to. There's something in the pull that feels like an invitation, like a question being asked. Will you come? Will you trust? Will you let go? And the answer rising in you is yes. You wade deeper, one step, then another. The water rises to your knees, your thighs, your waist. The sand beneath your feet becomes softer, less certain. Soon you'll have to choose, stand or float, hold on or let go. You choose to let go. You lean back, slowly, carefully, lowering yourself into the water's embrace, and it catches you, holds you, supports you completely. You're floating now. The water is neither warm nor cold. It's the temperature of forgetting temperature, the temperature of dreams, of the space between sleeping and waking, where the body becomes irrelevant and only awareness remains. Your arms spread, your legs relax, your head tilts back, half submerged, ears underwater. Sound changes, becomes muffled, distant. The world above the surface fades into something abstract, something that doesn't quite concern you anymore. And the tide is carrying you. You can feel it, not as force, but as motion, as gentle, irresistible movement. The current has you now, is pulling you out, away from shore, away from the beach and the sand and the solid ground. You don't fight it. Fighting would be pointless, exhausting. The ocean is so much larger than you, so much stronger. Struggling against it would only tire you, would only make you afraid. But you're not afraid, because this isn't drowning. This isn't being dragged under. This is being carried, being held, being transported by something that knows where it's going even if you don't. There's relief in this, deep, profound relief. You've spent so much of your life swimming, struggling, trying to get somewhere, trying to stay afloat through effort and will and constant motion. But here, now, you don't have to do any of that. The water holds you. The tide moves you. You can simply rest, simply be, simply allow yourself to be carried. This is surrender, true surrender, not giving up, not failing, but releasing, trusting, letting something larger than yourself take over. And it feels like the most natural thing in the world. You float on your back, looking up at the sky. Clouds drift past. Or maybe you're drifting past the clouds. It's hard to tell. Motion is relative. When you're being carried, the world moves around you as much as you move through it. The shore is behind you now, growing distant. You could turn your head and look at it, watch it recede, watch the beach become a line, then a smudge, then a memory. But you don't need to look back. Don't need to track how far you've come. Don't need to measure the distance or worry about the way home, because this isn't about returning. This is about going, about moving outward, about following the tide to wherever it leads. And the tide is pulling you somewhere specific, somewhere intentional, not deeper into this ocean, not to the other shore, but beyond, past the boundaries of water and air and sky, past the edges of the world you know. This is the beginning of the real journey, the cosmic journey, because the ocean you're floating in isn't just water anymore. It's becoming something else, something more, something that holds not just waves and fish and salt, but stars, galaxies, light itself. You're drifting through the universe now, not the universe as a place, but as an ocean, as a vast, living medium that holds everything, that contains all matter and energy and space and time. And just as the tide pulled you from the shore, wonder is pulling you outward, past the familiar, past the known, toward the boundary where the universe ends and something else begins. You can feel Earth beneath you, or behind you, growing distant. The planet you've lived on your entire life is shrinking away, not because you're afraid of it, not because you're running from it, but because the tide is carrying you, because wonder has you in its current, because there's somewhere else you need to be. The stars are around you now, not above, around. You're among them, floating through the cosmic ocean, drifting past points of light that have been shining for billions of years, and you're not cold, not afraid, not lost, because the ocean holds you. The cosmic ocean, the vast, infinite depth that contains everything, that supports you, that knows where it's taking you even if you don't. You pass galaxies. They spiral slowly in the distance, islands of light in the dark water, beautiful, distant, unconcerned with your passage. And still the tide pulls you outward, further, deeper, toward the edges of everything. The stars are beginning to thin, to spread apart, to become less frequent. You're leaving the crowded regions, the bright places, the familiar constellations and clusters and clouds of light. You're entering the sparse regions, the empty places, the deep ocean far from any shore. And it should feel lonely, should feel frightening. This vast emptiness, this growing darkness, this distance from everything you've ever known. But it doesn't. It feels peaceful, safe, like coming home, not home to the place you left, but home to something deeper, something you've always belonged to but forgotten, the infinite, the boundless, the ocean that holds all oceans. You're being carried toward the edge of the universe, toward the place where stars end and something else begins, where the cosmic ocean meets whatever lies beyond it. And you trust the tide, trust the current, trust that whatever is pulling you knows what it's doing, knows where you need to go. Your breathing has slowed, deepened. Each breath is a wave, in and out, rising and falling, synchronized with the motion of the cosmic ocean. Your body has become weightless, or maybe weight has become meaningless. Either way, you're not holding yourself up anymore. You're not working to stay afloat. You're simply floating, being held, being carried. And in this state, this perfect surrender, this complete trust, you realize something. You've been looking for this your entire life, this feeling, this release, this peace that comes from letting go, from allowing yourself to be carried by something larger than yourself. Not religion, not faith in any traditional sense, but trust. Trust in the universe itself. Trust in the tide that pulls you. Trust that wherever you're going is exactly where you need to be. The shore is long gone now. Earth is invisible. The familiar stars have scattered and thinned. You're in the deep water of existence, the far reaches of the cosmic ocean, and still the tide carries you. Gentle, inevitable, patient. You're approaching something. You can feel it, not as fear, but as anticipation, a threshold, a boundary, a place where one thing ends and another begins, the edge of the universe, the shore of the cosmic ocean, the place where everything you've ever known meets everything you've never imagined, and the tide is taking you there, pulling you gently, irresistibly, toward the crossing. You're ready. You've been ready. You just needed to let go, to trust, to float, and now, carried by the tide of wonder, held by the cosmic ocean, you're drifting toward the edge of everything, toward the place where the universe ends and the ocean beyond the stars begins. The ocean is changing around you. You've drifted far now, far from shore, far from the familiar waters where light sparkles on the surface and life teems in every direction. You're in the deep water now, and deep water is different, fundamentally different, not worse, not empty, just other. Think of diving down into the ocean, down past where the swimmers stay, down past where the sun reaches easily, into the layers where light begins to fail, where the water grows quiet, where the creatures become strange and rare. That's where you are now, in the cosmic ocean, in the deep water of space itself, and everything is changing. The galaxies are thinning. When you started this journey, you were surrounded by them, islands of light in every direction, spirals and ellipses and irregular clouds of stars. Billions of suns gathered together by gravity into structures so vast that light takes hundreds of thousands of years to cross them. They were everywhere, crowded, close, like fish in a reef. like birds in a forest, abundant, overwhelming, beautiful in their multitude. But as you've drifted outward, as the tide has carried you toward the edges, they've been growing sparse. First, there were millions of stars visible around you, then thousands, then hundreds, and now, as you float deeper into the cosmic ocean, there are only a few distant points of light, scattered, separated by distances so vast they make the space between planets seem intimate. You're entering the voids, the great empty regions between galaxy clusters, the deep ocean of the universe where matter itself becomes rare, and the light is dimming, not suddenly, not dramatically, but gradually, gently, the way light fades when you descend into deep water, in the shallows near the surface. Sunlight penetrates everything, fills the water with brightness, makes it glow blue and green and alive. But deeper down, the light struggles. It scatters, diffuses, weakens, until only a dim twilight remains, a faint glow filtering down from above, enough to see, barely, enough to know that somewhere, far away, there is still brightness. That's what's happening now in the cosmic ocean as you drift into the sparse regions. The stars are so far apart that their light barely touches you, barely reaches across the vast distances between. The darkness between them is growing, expanding, becoming more present than the light itself. And this darkness isn't nothing, isn't absence. It's a presence, a tangible thing, a weight, a depth. It's the color of the deep ocean, the color that exists where light fades but hasn't disappeared entirely. That perfect blue-black, that midnight color, that hue that suggests infinite depth. You're sinking into it, not falling, sinking, the way a stone sinks through water, slowly, gently, inevitably. And as you sink, the stillness grows. In the bright regions of the universe, there's motion, constant motion. Stars orbit, galaxies spin, gas clouds collapse. Everything is dynamic, active, changing. But here, in the deep water, motion slows, becomes rare, becomes something that happens over millions of years instead of seconds. A hydrogen atom drifts, alone, unattached, moving through the void at walking speed. It will travel for eons before encountering another atom, before touching anything, before knowing it's not alone. This is the deep stillness of space, the quiet that exists far from stars, far from planets, far from anything that moves quickly or changes obviously. And it's peaceful, deeply, profoundly peaceful, like sinking into the quiet layers of the ocean where currents don't reach, where the water is so still it feels solid, where you can hang suspended without effort, without motion, without anything disturbing the perfect equilibrium. You're in that place. Now, that state, that depth, the few remaining points of light, the distant galaxies, the scattered stars, they're not struggling to shine. They're just far away. Their light is traveling toward you, patient and constant, crossing the vast darkness at the speed of light. But the darkness is so vast that the light seems fragile, seems like an exception to the rule, a brief interruption in the dominant presence of deep, still shadow. Your eyes are adjusting, the way eyes adjust to darkness, to deep water, to the absence of easy light. And as they adjust, you begin to see differently, to perceive things you couldn't perceive in the brightness. The darkness has texture, depth, variation. It's not uniform, not flat. It has layers, currents of deeper and lighter dark, subtle variations in the nothing. And in this darkness, you can rest, can really rest, the way you can't rest in brightness, in noise, in crowded places. Because darkness asks nothing of you, doesn't demand that you look at it, doesn't insist that you pay attention. It just holds you, surrounds you, lets you be. You're entering the realm where the universe itself becomes sparse, where the structures that dominate the bright regions, the galaxies, the clusters, the filaments of matter, give way to something simpler, emptier, more fundamental. This is what most of the universe actually is. Not the bright places, not the crowded places, but this, the deep water, the sparse regions, the voids between the islands of light. We focus on the bright parts because that's where we live, where Earth is, where the stars cluster, where things happen that we can see and measure and understand. But the bright parts are the exception, the shallow water near the surface, the comfortable places. Most of the universe is this: deep, dark, still, sparse. And it's not empty, not really. It's full of space itself, full of the vacuum, full of the quantum fields that permeate everything, full of the subtle energy that makes space itself real. It's full of potential, of possibility, of the capacity for things to exist even if they don't exist right now. And it's full of peace, of quiet, of the kind of rest that comes from being far from everything, from being in a place where nothing is demanded, where nothing is expected, where you can simply be without having to be anything in particular. You're floating through this now, through the deep cosmic ocean, through the sparse regions where galaxies are rare and stars are memories, and light is a visitor from distant shores. And you're discovering something. You're discovering that emptiness is not the same as nothing, that space is not the same as absence. This vast, dark, quiet expanse is full of itself, full of its own presence, full of the possibility of everything that might someday exist here, even if nothing exists here now. And in this fullness of emptiness, in this presence of absence, there's a kind of perfection, a completeness, a wholeness that doesn't need anything added to it. The deep water of the cosmic ocean is complete, is enough, is beautiful in its spareness, in its stillness, in its refusal to be crowded or loud or demanding. And you're part of it now, sinking into it, being held by it, finding rest in the depths. The light continues to dim, the stars continue to thin, the galaxies continue to fade into the distance behind you, and still you drift, still the tide carries you, deeper, further, into the sparsest regions of all, toward the place where even this deep water ends, where the cosmic ocean itself meets its boundary, where the universe, vast and ancient and incomprehensibly large, finally reaches its edge. And beyond that edge, something else waits, something even deeper, even quieter, even more profound. But you're not there yet, not quite. You're still in the deep water of the universe, still in the sparse regions where a few final lights flicker in the distance, and one of them, one final point of light, is about to become very important, is about to serve as your guide, your companion, your last connection to the universe you're leaving behind, a lighthouse in the deep water, a beacon on the edge of everything. That's where you're drifting now, toward the last light, the final star, the ultimate shore before the ocean beyond. There's a light, one light, far away, or perhaps nearby. Distance has become strange out here. Direction has lost its certainty. But there's a light, one final point, one last signal from the universe you know, a galaxy, the last galaxy you'll see. It's not the brightest you've encountered, not the largest or most spectacular. It might be quite ordinary, actually, quite small, just another island of stars among billions. But it's special now, special because it's the last, the final lighthouse. You can see it there, in the deep dark water of the cosmic ocean, a faint glow, a smudge of light against the profound darkness. And it's steady, faithful, constant. It's been shining for billions of years, long before Earth existed, long before the sun ignited, long before anything you'd recognize as familiar took shape in the universe, and it's shining still, sending its light outward in all directions. Photons streaming into the void, most of them traveling forever without touching anything, without being seen, without mattering to anyone or anything. But some of them, just a few, are reaching you, crossing the impossible distance between that galaxy and where you float now, traveling through the deep water, through the sparse regions, through the emptiness that separates you from the last shore of the knowable universe. And you're grateful for it, for this light, for this connection. It's the last thread, the final link, the only thing still tying you to the universe you've always known. Every other galaxy has faded. Every other star has disappeared into the distance behind you. But this one remains, this lighthouse, this beacon, this faithful companion in the deep. You watch it as you drift, can't help but watch it. It's the only thing to see, the only reference point in all the darkness. And it watches you, in a way, not consciously, not deliberately, but its light reaches you, touches you, acknowledges your presence in the void. You're not alone, not yet, not while the lighthouse still shines. There's comfort in this, deep comfort, the kind that comes from knowing you're still connected, still part of something, still within sight of home, even if home is impossibly far away. The lighthouse doesn't judge you, doesn't question why you're drifting so far into the deep water, doesn't call you back or warn you of danger. It just shines, just exists, just offers its light freely, without demand or expectation, and you receive it, gratefully, quietly, knowing it won't last forever, because you're moving. The tide is still carrying you, still pulling you outward, away from the universe, away from the last lighthouse, toward the boundary that waits ahead, and the distance between you and the galaxy is growing, not because you're traveling, not exactly, you're floating, drifting. The motion is gentle, barely perceptible, but the space itself is expanding, stretching. The cosmic ocean is growing, and the growth is carrying you apart. You and the lighthouse, separating you like two leaves on a river, caught by different currents, drifting toward different destinations. The light is dimming, not because the galaxy is fading, not because its stars are dying, but because the distance is growing, because space itself is expanding between you faster than light can cross it. The photons that left that galaxy millions of years ago, they're reaching you now. But the photons leaving it in this moment, they'll never reach you. The distance is growing too fast. The expansion is too swift. You're watching the past, the galaxy as it was. And with each moment, that past grows more distant, more unreachable, more final. The light is dimming, growing fainter. The smudge of luminosity is shrinking, condensing, becoming a point, then less than a point, and you feel something, a tightness, a gentle ache. Not pain, exactly, but sadness, tender sadness. The kind that comes with saying goodbye to something you'll never see again. This is grief, gentle grief, quiet grief. The grief of knowing you're leaving behind everything you've ever known, every star you've ever seen, every galaxy that's ever shone its light towards you. The lighthouse is fading, and with it, the last connection to the familiar universe. Soon, you'll be beyond the reach of any light, beyond the influence of any gravity, beyond the touch of any particle or wave or signal from the cosmos you've always called home. Soon, you'll be truly alone, truly separate, truly beyond. And there's sadness in this, real sadness. You're allowed to feel it, expected to feel it, even, because this is a threshold, a crossing, a departure from everything. The lighthouse grows dimmer and dimmer still, a faint glow, a whisper of light, a memory of brightness, You want to hold on to it, want to keep watching, want to maintain this last connection for as long as possible. But the tide doesn't stop. The current doesn't pause for your grief. The cosmic ocean continues its expansion, its growth, its inexorable movement towards something you can't yet see. The lighthouse is barely visible now, almost gone, almost memory. You watch it, honor it, thank it silently for being there, for shining, for giving you something to hold on to in the deep water, something to look at, something to remind you that you came from somewhere, that you're connected to something, that you're not, and never have been, truly alone. And then it's gone, not suddenly, not dramatically. It doesn't wink out or explode or disappear. It just fades, gradually, gently, until the point comes when you can't see it anymore, can't distinguish it from the darkness, can't tell if it's still there or if it's finally, completely gone. The last lighthouse has faded. The final light has dimmed beyond perception. The ultimate connection to the universe has dissolved into the expanding dark, and you're alone, truly alone, profoundly alone, more alone than any human has ever been or could ever be. You're floating in the deep cosmic ocean with no reference points, no landmarks, no way to orient yourself, no way to know which direction is which or where you are or how far you've come. The universe is behind you, or around you, or gone entirely. It doesn't matter. You can't see it, can't reach it, can't touch it, or be touched by it. You've crossed a boundary, an invisible line, the point beyond which the universe's light cannot reach. The edge of the observable cosmos. And beyond this edge, there is no observation, no light, no information, no connection. Just you, just darkness, just the deep, still water of the cosmic ocean holding you, carrying you, moving you towards something you can't see and can't imagine. And in this aloneness, in this complete separation from everything you've ever known, something unexpected happens. You feel peace, not despite the aloneness, because of it. Because there's freedom in this, freedom from reference, freedom from orientation, freedom from the need to know where you are or where you're going. You don't have to find your way back, don't have to navigate, don't have to track your position or measure your distance or maintain your bearing. You can just be, just float, just exist in this moment without any connection to past or future or place. The lighthouse is gone, the universe is gone, everything familiar is gone, and what remains is simpler, purer, more essential. Just you, just awareness. Just the quiet presence at the center of experience, floating in the infinite dark, carried by the tide toward mysteries beyond imagining. The grief is still there, gentle and real. You haven't abandoned it, haven't pushed it away. But alongside it, intertwined with it, is peace, deep peace, the peace of letting go, of releasing, of allowing the last thread to break and discovering you can still exist, can still be, can still continue. You're beyond the universe now, beyond its light, beyond its reach, and ahead of you, closer now, inevitable now, is the boundary itself, the membrane, the surface, the place where the universe ends and something else begins. That's where you're drifting. That's where the tide is taking you, toward the crossing, toward the threshold, toward the moment when you leave not just the observable universe, but the universe itself. And you're ready. The lighthouse prepared you. Its fading taught you how to let go, how to release, how to trust that what comes after goodbye can be just as beautiful as what came before. The darkness holds you. The deep water cradles you. The tide carries you forward, toward the surface, toward the membrane, toward the ocean beyond the stars. You're rising or falling. It's hard to say which. In the deep cosmic ocean, up and down have lost their certainty, lost their meaning. But you're moving, approaching something. You can feel it. A change in the water, a shift in the darkness, a sense of nearness to something significant, a boundary. Think of swimming deep underwater, down where the light barely reaches, where the pressure is immense, where the water is cold and still and dark, and then turning, looking up, beginning to ascend. You can see it above you, the surface, the boundary between water and air, between below and above, between one world and another. From underneath, it looks strange, magical. The surface shimmers. Waves and ripples create patterns of light and shadow. The world above, the sky, the clouds, the sun appears distorted, bent, refracted through the moving boundary. And there's something beautiful about it, something liminal. The surface is neither water nor air. It's the place where one becomes the other, where two realities meet, where a threshold exists. That's what you're seeing now, what you're approaching. In the cosmic ocean, the surface of the universe, it's above you or ahead of you. Direction has become flexible, but the sense of it is clear. You're moving toward a boundary, the edge of everything that is, the membrane between the universe and whatever lies beyond it. And it's not what you expected. Not a wall, not a hard edge, not a barrier you could touch or break against. It's more subtle than that, more strange. It's a membrane, a surface tension, a place where the fabric of space itself begins to end, where the rules that govern reality start to soften, where the laws of physics become suggestions instead of absolutes. You can see it shimmering above you. Light plays across it, but not light as you know it. This is something else, something that looks like light but isn't quite. Patterns and movements that shouldn't exist. Colors that don't belong to any spectrum. Waves that ripple through something that isn't quite space and isn't quite anything else. The membrane pulses, breathes, fluctuates between states you can't name. And as you rise toward it, as you drift closer, you begin to feel the strangeness more acutely. The way reality itself is becoming less solid, less certain. Space is bending here, curving in on itself, creating geometries that shouldn't be possible, angles that don't add up, distances that change depending on how you look at them. Time is doing something similar, slowing, speeding, neither, both, you can't tell. The flow of moments has become irregular, unpredictable, like water swirling near a drain, creating eddies and whirlpools and strange currents. You're at the edge of everything that exists, everything that can be called universe, everything that operates according to the laws you've always known. Matter exists here, energy exists, space and time exist, cause and effect still function. Mostly. The relationships between things are still recognizable, but just barely, just enough. You're at the very limit, the very edge, the last place where universe still applies. And beyond the membrane, beyond this shimmering, pulsing, breathing surface, lies something else entirely. The ocean beyond the stars, the outside, the truly foreign realm where nothing you know applies, where the concepts themselves dissolve. You pause here, just beneath the surface, hovering, floating, held by the strange currents that swirl around the boundary. Not from fear. You're not afraid. This journey has taught you not to fear the unknown, has shown you that letting go is safe, that drifting into mystery is natural, that surrender leads to peace. You pause from reverence, from respect, from the deep knowing that you're at a threshold, a sacred place, a boundary that matters. This is where the universe ends, where everything you've ever known completes itself, where the story that began with the Big Bang reaches its final page. Beyond this membrane, there is no universe, no space, no time, no matter or energy or light or any of the things that make existence recognizable, just other. radically other, incomprehensibly other. And you're about to cross into it, about to breach the membrane, about to leave the universe entirely and enter the ocean that holds it. The surface shimmers above you, beautiful and strange, the boundary between worlds, the threshold between is and isn't, between known and unknowable. You can feel the tide still pulling you, still carrying you upward, toward the surface, toward the crossing. It's gentle, patient, unhurried, but inevitable. You're going to cross, going to breach, going to pass through the membrane and emerge into whatever lies beyond. And you trust it. Trust the tide. Trust the cosmic ocean. Trust that whatever is carrying you knows what it's doing, knows where you need to be. The membrane is close now, very close. You could reach out and touch it if you wanted to. Could press your hand against the boundary and feel where the universe ends, but you don't need to. Don't need to test it or measure it or understand it. You just need to allow it. Allow the crossing. Allow the passage from inside to outside, from universe to beyond. The surface ripples, pulses. Waves of something that isn't quite energy pass across it, creating patterns, creating beauty, creating a kind of invitation. Come through, come across, come beyond. Your ascent continues, slow, steady, inevitable. The membrane is just above you now, so close you can see its texture, its subtle variations, its impossible geometries. It's thin, thinner than you expected, thinner than seems possible for something that marks the boundary of all existence. But that's what surfaces are, paper-thin divisions between vastly different realms. The ocean's surface is just a few molecules thick, just a brief arrangement of water and air meeting, and yet it divides two completely different worlds. This is the same. The universe's surface, the membrane between everything and whatever lies beyond everything. And you're rising through it now, beginning to cross, beginning to breach. Your awareness touches the membrane first, the part of you that perceives, that witnesses, that knows you exist, and it passes through easily, like passing from water into air, like breaking through the surface of a pool after swimming underwater. There's a moment of transition, a brief instant where you're neither here nor there, neither inside the universe nor outside it, neither one thing nor the other. A liminal moment, a threshold moment, a sacred pause between states. And then you're through. You've crossed. You've breached the membrane and emerged into the ocean beyond the stars, and everything changes. You're almost there. The surface is just above you, close enough to touch, close enough to feel its presence pressing against your awareness. The membrane between inside and outside, between universe and beyond, between everything you've ever known and everything you've never imagined. You can feel it, not with your body. Your body is a universe thing, made of atoms and molecules, subject to the laws of physics, but with something deeper, with the part of you that perceives, that witnesses, that knows you exist. And then, gently, inevitably, you cross it. You break through the surface of the universe. Think of that moment when you've been swimming underwater, when you've held your breath as long as you can, when your lungs are burning and your chest is tight and you need air more than anything, and you push upward, break through the surface. Your face emerges into air, that first gasp, that desperate, wonderful inrush of breath, the shift from water to air, from pressure to release, from one medium to an entirely different medium. The change is total, immediate, undeniable. The sound changes first. Underwater, everything is muffled, distant. Sound travels differently through water, reaches your ears in strange ways. Everything has a hollowness to it, an echo, a quality that marks it as other. But when you break the surface, sound becomes sharp, clear, immediate. The world above water has a different acoustic signature, a different way of carrying vibration and information. The pressure changes. The weight of water on your body, you don't notice it until it's gone, until you emerge and feel the lightness of air, the absence of that crushing embrace, the freedom of being in a thinner medium. The temperature changes. Water and air are different temperatures. Even if they're both warm or both cold, they feel different against your skin. Water clings, air brushes, water supports, air allows, and the light changes. Oh, how the light changes. From the bent, refracted, dim blue-green of underwater vision to the bright, clear, direct light of the world above. Colors become sharp, edges become defined. Everything gains a clarity it didn't have below. This is what breaking through a surface feels like. This is what crossing a boundary means. And this is what you're experiencing now, as you break through the surface of the universe, as you cross from inside to outside, as you emerge into the ocean beyond the stars. But the changes are stranger here, deeper, more fundamental, because you're not moving from water to air. You're moving from existence to something else. The laws that governed you, that governed everything, they don't follow you here. Causality, the idea that effects follow causes, that things happen in sequence, that past leads to present leads to future, that belong to the universe, to the inside. It doesn't apply here. Time, the flow of moments, the arrow from was to is to will be, the measurement of change, the duration of experience. That was a universe thing, a property of space and matter and energy interacting. It doesn't cross the membrane with you. Space, the three dimensions of up and down, left and right, forward and back. The framework that held everything in position, that gave location meaning, that made distance real. That too remains behind, belongs to the inside, ends at the surface. Even matter and energy, the fundamental substances of reality, the things everything is made of, they're universe concepts. They exist within the laws of physics, within the framework of space and time, within the boundaries of the cosmos. And you're outside those boundaries now. So what is this place, this realm, this ocean beyond the stars? It's not dark. Dark would imply the absence of light, and light is photons traveling through space. Light is a universe thing. It requires space to travel through, time to travel within, the laws of electromagnetism to govern it. Here, there is no light, but there's also no darkness, because darkness is just the word we use when light should be present but isn't. Here, the concept itself doesn't apply, doesn't make sense, doesn't mean anything. It's not empty. Empty would imply space, volume, the capacity for things to be present but aren't. Empty is a universe concept, a description of space that contains no matter, but there is no space here. No volume, no capacity for containment. So empty doesn't work either, doesn't capture what this is. It's not silent. Silence would mean the absence of sound, and sound is vibration traveling through matter, pressure waves in air or water or solid material. Sound requires physics, requires the laws that govern how energy moves through substance. Here, there are no pressure waves, no matter to vibrate, no medium to carry oscillations. But there's also no silence, because silence is what happens when sound could exist but doesn't. Here, the concept itself is meaningless, inapplicable, foreign. So what is it? It's other, radically other, fundamentally other, completely and entirely other. It's not anything you can name, not anything you can describe using words from the universe, because all words are universe words, all concepts are universe concepts, all frameworks of understanding were built to make sense of the inside, and you're outside now, outside everything, outside existence itself, in a sense, outside the framework that makes outside meaningful. This should be terrifying. incomprehensible, impossible to experience, and yet you're experiencing it. You're here. You're aware. You're perceiving something, even if you can't name what you're perceiving. You still exist, somehow, in some form, in some way that transcends the physical, the spatial, the temporal, the causal, because you are not your body. Your body is atoms. Atoms are universe things. They stayed inside. They ended at the membrane. You are not your thoughts. Thoughts are electrochemical processes in a brain. Brains are matter. Matter is universe stuff. It didn't cross with you. You are not even your memories. Memories are patterns stored in neural connections. Neural connections are biological structures. Biological structures are made of molecules. Molecules are universe-bound. So what are you? What is the part of you that crossed the membrane, that broke through the surface, that exists here, in the ocean beyond the stars? You are awareness itself, consciousness, the pure fact of experiencing, the irreducible knowing that something is happening and you are the one it's happening to, and that essential, fundamental, mysterious thing is not bound by the universe, is not subject to the laws of physics, is not contained by space or time or matter or energy. It can exist here, does exist here. It's existing here right now. You are floating in the ocean beyond the stars, surrounded by something that cannot be named, cannot be described, cannot be understood using any framework you've ever known. And it's disorienting, profoundly disorienting, like vertigo but deeper, like being lost but more fundamental, like confusion but more complete. Every reference point is gone. Every way of making sense of experience has been stripped away. Every concept you've relied on to understand reality has dissolved. You can't locate yourself, can't orient yourself, can't determine what's happening or where you are or how you got here. The frameworks are gone. The structure is gone. The universe is gone. And yet you're still here, still aware, still experiencing, still somehow existing in a way that feels real even though nothing about it makes sense. And in that impossibility, in that paradox, there's a strange comfort, because you've discovered something profound, something most beings never discover, something that changes everything. You've discovered that you can exist outside existence, that awareness transcends the universe, that the you that witnesses and knows and experiences is not bound by the laws of physics or the structure of reality. You are more than the universe, deeper than space, older than time, more fundamental than matter and energy. You are the thing that perceives all those things, and you don't need them to be. The ocean beyond the stars holds you now. This strange, impossible, nameless realm cradles you, supports you, lets you be, and you're beginning to sense something moving in this ocean, something present here that isn't you but also isn't entirely other. Currents, perhaps, flows, movements of something that has no name. This ocean has depth, has substance, has qualities and characteristics, even if you can't name them or understand them. And you're drifting in it, being carried by it, moving through it, towards something, toward the depths, toward the places where this ocean is most itself, most pure, most untouched by anything from the universe you left behind. That's where we're going next, down into the deep waters of the ocean beyond the stars, into the currents of pure possibility, into the realm where even this strange, impossible existence becomes stranger still. You're floating in the ocean beyond the stars, and you begin to feel something moving, something flowing around you, not water. There's no water here. Water is molecules. Molecules are universe things. They stayed behind. But something, currents, flows, movements of something that has no name. You can feel them against your awareness, the way you'd feel ocean currents against your body, the way you'd sense the pull and push of tides, the way you'd know, even with your eyes closed. that the water is moving, carrying you, taking you somewhere. These currents are like that, but stranger, deeper, more fundamental. Perhaps they're currents of possibility itself. Think about the universe you left behind. In that universe, reality is fixed, definite. What is. What happens, happens. A star forms or it doesn't. A galaxy spins or it collapses. A particle decays or it remains stable. One thing occurs. All the other things that could have occurred don't. The universe makes choices, in a sense, selects one path from infinite possible paths, becomes one specific reality from all the realities it might have been. But what happens to all those other possibilities? All those could have beens that never were? Perhaps they're here, in the ocean beyond the stars, flowing as currents, moving as tides, existing in some strange, potential state that isn't quite existence and isn't quite nothing. Perhaps these currents you feel are all the things that could be but aren't, all the universes that might form but haven't yet, all the possibilities that reality hasn't selected, hasn't made concrete, hasn't brought into being. You drift with these currents. Let them carry you, and they feel alive. Not alive in the biological sense. Life is a universe concept, but alive in some deeper way, alive with potential, with capacity, with the strange energy of might be. One current feels warm, or perhaps warm isn't the right word, but it has a quality that reminds you of warmth, of comfort, of things coming together, of structures forming, of order emerging from chaos. Perhaps this current is full of possible universes where things work out, where stars form stable systems, where planets cool into habitable worlds, where life emerges and flourishes and becomes conscious and wonders about its place in existence. Another current feels different, cooler, sparser. It has the quality of things falling apart, of entropy winning, of structures dissolving back into simplicity. Perhaps this current contains all the possible universes that never quite coalesce, where the constants are wrong, where matter doesn't bind properly, where nothing complex can form, where reality remains simple and empty and still. You pass through both, through many, through currents of every quality and character. Some feel heavy, some feel light, some feel quick, some feel slow. And you realize the ocean beyond the stars is full, not empty, not void, not nothing. It's full of everything that isn't, everything that could be, everything that might become. It's the source, the wellspring, the infinite reservoir of potential from which actual universes draw their reality, and you're drifting through it, being carried by its currents, feeling its tides, sensing its depths. There are eddies here, whirlpools, places where the currents circle back on themselves, where possibility concentrates, where potential gathers. Perhaps this is where universes form, where enough possibility accumulates in one place that it tips over into actuality, where could be becomes is, where the ocean beyond the stars gives birth to another cosmos. You drift near one of these eddies, can feel it spinning, can sense the concentration of potential swirling in on itself, building, intensifying, approaching some critical threshold. Will it become a universe? Is it becoming one now? Has it already become one, and you're just sensing its echo in the ocean beyond? You can't tell. The concepts of now and then don't work here. The framework of before and after doesn't apply. But you sense it, this gathering, this condensing, this movement from might be toward is, and you sense something else, something that makes you pause, makes your awareness sharpen, makes you pay closer attention. You're not alone in this ocean, not alone in the sense of other people. People are biological. Biological is universe-bound. There are no people here, not alone in the sense of other beings or creatures or entities. Those are all concepts from inside, from the universe, from the realm of matter and energy and cause and effect, but not alone in a deeper sense, in the sense of other presences, other instances of awareness, other points of consciousness floating in the infinite ocean. Perhaps they're other universes, complete realities unto themselves, each one a bubble of existence floating in the ocean beyond, each one bounded by its own membrane, each one containing its own space and time and matter and energy, each one operating according to its own laws. You can sense them, not see them. Seeing requires light, not hear them. Hearing requires sound, but sense them. Feel their presence. Know they're there the way you know you're there. They're like you, floating, drifting, suspended in the ocean beyond the stars, carried by the same currents, subject to the same mysterious tides, but they're also utterly separate, completely isolated, each one contained within its own membrane, each one unaware of the others, each one believing, perhaps, that it's all there is, that its universe is the only universe, that reality begins and ends at its boundaries, the way you believed, before you crossed the membrane, before you broke through the surface, before you discovered the ocean beyond. You're drifting among them now, past them, between them, through the spaces in the ocean that separate one universe from another, and you feel connection and separation simultaneously, both at once, paradoxically intertwined. Connection because you're all here, all floating in the same ocean, all subject to the same currents, all part of this vast, incomprehensible realm that holds everything. Separation because you can't touch them, can't communicate with them, can't cross from your awareness into theirs or theirs into yours. The membranes keep you apart. The boundaries remain absolute. Each universe is alone. Each consciousness is isolated. Each bubble of existence is complete unto itself. And yet all of you are held by the same ocean, carried by the same tides, drifting through the same infinite depth. You are part of something so vast it makes the universe seem small, makes your galaxy seem like a grain of sand, makes Earth seem like less than a speck of dust. The ocean beyond the stars contains everything, all universes, all possibilities, all might-bes and could-bes, and never-wheres, all the realities that exist, and all the realities that don't, all the consciousness that has emerged, and all the consciousness that never will. It's infinite, not infinite in the way space is infinite. Space is a universe concept, but infinite in some deeper way, infinite in capacity, in potential, in the sheer overwhelming vastness of what it holds. And you're floating in it, being carried by it, held by it. There's wonder in this, pure wonder, the kind that doesn't need understanding, doesn't need explanation, doesn't need to be reduced to concepts or frameworks or knowledge. Just wonder, just awe, just the overwhelming sense of being part of something so magnificent, so mysterious, so utterly beyond comprehension that all you can do is surrender to it. Float in it, let it carry you deeper. The currents are taking you somewhere, down, or perhaps in the distinction has no meaning here, but deeper into the ocean, further from the surface, further from the membrane between inside and outside, toward the depths, the true depths, the places where the ocean is most itself, most pure, most concentrated, where the currents are strongest, where the potential is densest, where the mystery is deepest. That's where you're going. That's where the tide is carrying you, to the deepest depth, the heart of the ocean beyond the stars, the place where all possibility resides, where all might-bes wait, where the source of everything dwells in perfect stillness. And you trust it. Trust the currents, trust the ocean, trust that wherever you're being taken is exactly where you need to be. The wonder continues. The mystery deepens. The vastness expands around you, and you drift, and you float, and you descend into the depths of the ocean beyond the stars. You're descending now, sinking, falling, drifting down into depths you didn't know existed, deeper into the ocean beyond the stars, deeper than you've been, deeper than you thought possible. And the deeper you go, the stiller everything becomes. The currents that carried you, they're fading, growing weaker, losing their strength. Down here, in the true depths, there is no movement, no flow, no tide pulling you anywhere. Just stillness. Perfect stillness. The kind of stillness that exists when motion itself has never been. The presences you sensed, the other universes, the other bubbles of existence floating in the ocean, they're above you now, behind you, distant, growing dimmer, fading from your awareness like lights receding into fog. You're moving away from them, sinking below the levels where universes float, descending into regions where nothing exists, where nothing has ever existed, where existence itself is just a distant concept from another realm. You're approaching the deepest depth, the place where the ocean is most itself, most pure, most untouched by anything, the place farthest from any universe, from any structure, from any knowable thing. Think of the deepest places in Earth's oceans, the trenches, the abyssal zones, the places where the ocean floor drops away into chasms so deep that the pressure is crushing, where the darkness is absolute, where no light from the surface has ever reached. Those places feel alien, hostile, impossible. The pressure would crush a human instantly. The cold would freeze you. The darkness would swallow you whole. And yet, those places are peaceful, profoundly peaceful. They've been still for millions of years, undisturbed, untouched, resting in perfect, eternal silence. That's where you are now, in the cosmic equivalent of those depths, the deepest trench of the ocean beyond the stars. But here, there is no pressure. Pressure requires matter. Matter is a universe thing. It doesn't exist here. Here, there is no cold. Temperature is the motion of particles. Particles belong to the inside. They stayed behind. Here, there is no darkness. Darkness is the absence of light, and light is photons. Photons are physics. Physics is universe-bound. So what is here? Nothing, and everything, and neither, and both. Here, there is no light, not because it's dark, but because light has never existed here, has never been needed, has never had any reason to be. Here, there is no time, not because moments don't pass, but because passing has no meaning, because change doesn't happen, because before and after are concepts that don't apply. Here, there is no space, not because there's no room, but because room is a framework that belongs to the universe, to the inside, to the realm you left behind. You're in the deepest depth of the ocean beyond the stars, the farthest point from anything, the most remote location in all of reality and beyond reality, and it's the most restful place you've ever been, because here, finally, there's nothing to understand, nothing to figure out, nothing to make sense of, nothing to track or measure or comprehend. All the frameworks you've ever used to understand reality, they've fallen away, dissolved, become irrelevant. The framework of cause and effect, the idea that things happen for reasons, that events have explanations, that you can trace backwards from effect to cause and understand why things are the way they are. Gone, doesn't apply here, has no purchase in this depth. The framework of self and other, the distinction between you and not you, between inside and outside, between subject and object, dissolved, meaningless. There's just this awareness, this being, this presence that has no edges and no center and no separation from anything, the framework of past and future, the timeline of your life, the story of where you've been and where you're going, the narrative that makes you you, released, settled like sediment, fallen away into the depths below the depths. Even the framework of existence and non-existence, the binary of is and isn't, of being and not being, of reality and unreality. That too has dissolved, because here, those distinctions don't hold. Here, you can be without existing, can be aware without being anything in particular, can experience without there being anything to experience. All the questions you've ever asked, they've all ceased. What am I? Who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? What does it all mean? Those questions belong to the universe, to the inside, to the realm where questions make sense because there are frameworks to ask them within. Here, there are no frameworks, so the questions can't form, can't take shape, can't exist. And in the absence of questions, there's no need for answers, no searching, no seeking, no trying to figure anything out. Just this, just being, just the pure fact of awareness resting in itself. All your worries have settled, like particles in water, slowly drifting down, coming to rest at the bottom, no longer suspended, no longer in motion, just settled, still, at peace. The worry about what you should be doing, about whether you're wasting time, about whether you're productive enough, accomplished enough, good enough, settled, gone, irrelevant in these depths. The concern about what others think, about how you're perceived, about whether you're liked or respected or valued, dissolved, released. There are no others here, no perception, no judgment, just this depth that holds you without opinion, the fear about the future, about what might happen, about what could go wrong, about running out of time or money or opportunities, fallen away, because there is no future here, no past, no timeline to worry about, just the eternal now that isn't really now because now implies time and time is absent. All your thoughts, the constant stream of ideas and observations and commentary that usually fills your mind, the inner voice that narrates your experience, the mental chatter that never quite stops, quiet, still. Not because you've silenced it, but because here, in this depth, there's nothing for it to narrate, nothing for it to comment on, nothing for it to say. So it's resting, finally, truly resting. Even the meditation itself, the words, the images, the journey we've been taking together, it's fading now, becoming distant, becoming just another sound from another world that doesn't quite reach into this depth. You're beyond the meditation, beyond the guide, beyond the voice, beyond the journey. You're just here, in the deepest depth, in the most profound stillness, in the ultimate rest. And it's not empty, it's not lonely, it's not void, it's full, full of peace, full of rest, full of the kind of deep, complete, total tranquility that exists when everything else has been released. You don't have to do anything, don't have to be anything, don't have to understand anything or figure anything out or make sense of anything. You can just rest, just be, just exist in this state of pure, unbounded, uncomplicated awareness. The deepest depth holds you, cradles you, supports you completely. There's no effort required, no work to do, no energy to expend. Just this, just resting, just being held by the infinite, eternal, perfect stillness of the deepest place in the ocean beyond the stars. Your breathing has become so slow, so gentle, so subtle that you barely notice it. Each breath is soft, easy, effortless. Your body, if you still remember having a body, which you might not, is completely relaxed. Every muscle released, every tension dissolved, every holding let go. Your mind is quiet, still, at peace. And you rest here, in the deepest depth, in the place beyond all places, in the silence beyond all silence. This is the heart of the ocean beyond the stars, the core, the center, the deepest truth. And the deepest truth is this: peace, rest, stillness, the complete and total absence of struggle or striving or trying. Just being, just awareness, just the quiet presence that you are beneath everything else. You could stay here forever, could rest in this depth for eternity, could simply dissolve into the stillness and become one with it. And part of you does. Part of you stays here, remains in this depth, rests here always. But another part, a gentle, quiet part, remembers that you came from somewhere, that there's a world above these depths, a universe beyond this ocean, a body lying in a bed, in a room on a planet. And that part knows, gently, that it's time to begin the return. Not because you have to, not because there's anywhere you should be, but because the journey naturally curves back toward its beginning, because what descends must also rise, because rest, when it's complete, naturally leads to renewal. The deepest depth has given you what you needed, has shown you the ultimate peace, has let you touch the stillness at the heart of everything. And now, gently, almost imperceptibly, you feel yourself beginning to rise, to float upward, to drift back toward the surface, toward the universe, toward home. You've rested in the deepest depth, touched the bottom of the ocean beyond the stars, sunk into the stillness that exists beneath everything, found the peace that lives in the heart of mystery. And now, gently, you feel yourself rising, not because you've decided to, not because you're trying to, not because something is pulling you or pushing you or forcing you upward, but because rest, when it's complete, naturally leads to return. Because descent, when it reaches its end, naturally curves back toward ascent. Because the journey that took you down into the depths is the same journey that brings you back up toward the surface. You're rising, like a bubble in water, like air escaping from the deep, effortlessly, naturally, inevitably. The deepest depth releases you, lets you go, not because it's pushing you away, but because you've received what you came for. The rest, the peace, the profound stillness that only exists in the farthest, deepest places. And you carry it with you now, as you rise, as you ascend through the layers of the ocean beyond the stars. You pass through regions you remember, but barely. The journey down was long, gradual, immersive. The journey up is faster, compressed, dreamlike. You rise past the deepest stillness, the place where nothing moves and nothing changes and nothing exists except the pure, perfect peace of the void. You rise past the currents of possibility. You can feel them again now. The flows and tides of might be and could be and never was. They brush against your awareness as you pass through them, gentle, welcoming, like old friends acknowledging your return. You rise past the presences, the other universes, the other bubbles of existence floating in the infinite ocean. You sense them again, distant but present, separate but connected, each one alone in its membrane, each one held by the same ocean that holds you. And you feel compassion for them, understanding, because you know what they don't know. You know there's an ocean beyond. You know there's a depth beneath. You know there's a place of perfect rest that they could reach if they knew how to let go, how to drift, how to cross their own membranes and emerge into the beyond. But they'll find it when they're ready, just as you did, just as everything does. Eventually, you keep rising. The ocean around you is changing, becoming less dense, less concentrated, less purely itself. You're approaching the membrane, the surface, the boundary between the ocean beyond the stars and the universe itself, and you can see it above you, or sense it, the shimmering surface, the place where one realm becomes another, where outside becomes inside, where the ocean ends and existence begins. You rise toward it, and this time, the crossing is different, easier, gentler, more familiar. Because you're not leaving home now, you're returning to it. The membrane welcomes you, opens for you, lets you pass through without resistance, like a door that recognizes you, like water parting for a swimmer, like coming home after a long journey to find everything exactly as you left it. You slip through the surface, through the boundary, through the membrane between worlds, and you're inside the universe again. The laws return, gently, gradually, like putting on familiar clothes, like settling back into your body after forgetting you had one. Space exists again. 3 dimensions, up and down and left and right and forward and back. The framework that holds everything in position. Time exists again. The flow of moments. The movement from past to present to future. The arrow that points in one direction. Causality exists again. Effects following causes. Events happening in sequence. The logical structure that makes sense of change. Matter and energy exist again. The stuff of reality, the substance that stars and planets and bodies are made of, the building blocks of everything you know. But something has changed. Something is different. Not in the universe. The universe is the same. It's always been the same. It's you who's changed. Because you remember the outside. You carry it with you. The peace of the ocean beyond. The stillness of the deepest depth. The knowing that there's always a place of perfect rest beyond all the noise and motion and complexity. You can't unknow that. Can't forget it. Can't go back to believing the universe is all there is. You've seen what holds it. You've felt what surrounds it. You've touched the ocean that cradles everything. And that knowledge changes how you experience being inside, being back, being here. You drift through the universe now, retracing your path, but it feels different. Lighter, more spacious, less solid than it did before. The sparse galaxies are around you again, the few points of light scattered across vast distances. But they're not lonely anymore, not isolated. They're friendly, familiar. Points of light welcoming you back. You recognize them. Not individually. You didn't memorize which galaxies you passed on the way out, but collectively, as markers of the universe, as signs that you're home. The light is returning, gradually, gently. The darkness is receding, not disappearing. It's still there, still dominant, still the substrate that holds everything, but punctuated now by more and more points of light, more galaxies, more stars, more structure, more of the familiar architecture of the cosmos. The Milky Way is ahead of you, growing closer, growing brighter. That river of light, that spiral of hundreds of billions of suns, the galaxy you came from, the one that holds your sun, your planet, your home. And it's beautiful. You'd forgotten how beautiful it is, how intricate, how alive with light and motion and possibility. You drift toward it, into it, through its outer regions, and deeper toward its spiral arms, toward the particular arm that holds your particular star. And you realize something important, something that changes everything. You can visit the ocean beyond the stars anytime you want. It's not a place you have to travel to physically, not a destination you need a spacecraft to reach, not a location that requires you to actually leave the universe. It's a state, an awareness, a depth you can sink into whenever you need rest, because the ocean beyond the stars isn't just out there. It's also in here, in you, in the quiet space beneath your thoughts, in the stillness beneath your breath, in the peace that exists beneath all the noise and motion of your life. You've always had access to it. You just didn't know, didn't remember, didn't realize that the deepest depth is always available, always accessible, always waiting for you to sink into it. All you have to do is close your eyes, take a breath, let go, and remember the journey. Remember the ocean. Remember the peace. Remember the deep places where perfect stillness lives. And you're there, instantly, effortlessly, in the deep water, in the profound stillness, in the place beyond all places where perfect rest exists. You carry the ocean with you now. Wherever you go, whatever you do, whoever you become, it's part of you, woven into you, integrated into your awareness in a way that can never be undone. You're back in the universe, but you're also still in the ocean, both at once, simultaneously, paradoxically. You exist in the cosmos and in the depth beyond the cosmos. You live in time and in the timeless. You inhabit space and the spaceless. You are matter and energy, and also the awareness that transcends them. The sun is visible now. Your sun, that familiar star, that ordinary yellow dwarf that's been shining for billions of years and will shine for billions more. And orbiting it, small and blue and precious, is Earth, home, the planet you've known your entire life, the world that holds everyone and everything you've ever cared about. You drift toward it, drawn by something deeper than gravity, drawn by belonging, by connection, by the simple fact that this is where you came from and where you're returning to. The planet grows larger, more detailed. You can see continents, oceans, the actual oceans, the water oceans, the ones made of molecules and salt and tides governed by the moon. And you smile, inwardly, at the circularity of it. You began at an ocean shore, and you're returning to a planet covered in oceans. The metaphor has become literal. The literal has become metaphor. Everything is connected. Everything is one. You descend through the atmosphere, through the clouds, through the sky, down toward the surface, toward land, toward the particular place where your body is, where you've been all along, because you never left. Not really. This was always imagination, always meditation, always an inner journey masquerading as an outer one. But that doesn't make it less real, doesn't make it less true, doesn't diminish what you've experienced or what you've learned or what you now carry with you. You're almost home, almost back, almost ready to return fully to the world of form and time and ordinary existence. But you're different now, changed, expanded, deepened. You've touched the ocean beyond the stars, and it's touched you back, and nothing will ever be quite the same. You're back, on the shore, standing at the edge where land meets water, where the finite meets the infinite, where form meets formlessness. You can feel sand beneath your feet again. Or perhaps it's not sand. Perhaps it's the bed beneath your body, the mattress, the sheets, the particular pressure of lying down, of being horizontal, of being held by something solid. The boundary between the meditation and reality has become permeable, thin, unclear. Are you on a beach or in a room? Are you standing or lying down? Both, neither. It doesn't matter. The distinction has dissolved. You can hear the waves, or perhaps it's your breathing, the slow, steady rhythm of air moving in and out of your lungs, the gentle rise and fall of your chest, the soft sound of breath passing through your nose, your throat, your body. Waves, breath, they're the same rhythm, the same pattern, the same eternal movement of reaching and retreating, coming and going, rising and falling. You never really left. You understand that now. You're still here, still in this room, still in this body, still on this planet, orbiting this star, in this galaxy, in this universe. The journey was inward, not outward, down into the depths of consciousness, into the ocean of awareness that exists beneath all experience, beneath all thought, beneath all sensation. And now you're back on the surface, back in the world of form, back in the realm where things have names and shapes and boundaries. But you're also still there, still in the ocean beyond the stars, still floating in the infinite depth, still held by the peace that exists beneath everything, because the ocean isn't somewhere else, isn't a distant place you have to travel to, isn't beyond in any geographical sense. It's here, it's everywhere, it's the ground of everything, the foundation, the substrate. It's what holds the universe the way water holds waves. The waves rise and fall on the surface. They have form, they have motion. They exist for a brief time and then dissolve back into the ocean, but the ocean remains, always, eternally, unchanging in its depths, even as its surface moves and shifts and creates endless temporary forms. The universe is like that, a wave, a temporary form arising from the ocean beyond the stars, existing for a time, and eventually, in trillions upon trillions of years, dissolving back into the depths. And you are like that too, a wave, a particular pattern of awareness arising from the infinite ocean of consciousness, existing in this form, in this body, in this life for a brief time, and then returning, dissolving back, merging with the ocean that you came from and never truly left. Your room is a shore, a beautiful, temporary edge where the infinite ocean meets particular form, where the timeless becomes time, where the formless takes shape, and you're grateful for it, for this shore, for this room, for these walls that hold you, for this bed that supports you, for this body that lets you experience existence in this particular way. Because now you know what lies beyond it. Now you understand what holds it. Now you've touched the ocean that makes all of this possible. And that knowledge makes the shore precious, makes the temporary beautiful, makes the particular meaningful. You don't need to leave the shore to access the ocean. Don't need to drift away to find peace. Don't need to cross the membrane to touch the infinite. You can access it right here, right now, in this room, in this body, in this moment. All you have to do is close your eyes, take a breath, remember the journey, remember the ocean, remember the deep places where perfect stillness lives, and you're there, instantly. The ocean is accessible, always, in every moment, in every breath, in every pause between thoughts, whenever the noise becomes too much, whenever the world feels overwhelming, whenever you need rest that sleep alone can't provide. You can wade into the ocean, can let the tide carry you out, can drift to the deep places where peace exists beyond all understanding. The waves keep coming, reaching up onto the shore, retreating, reaching, retreating, gentle, rhythmic, eternal. Listen to them, feel them. Let them synchronize with your breathing, with your heartbeat, with the slow, steady rhythm of your body at rest. These waves, whether they're actual ocean waves or the metaphorical waves of breath, they're the sound of the ocean beyond the stars reaching into your world, touching the shore, reminding you of the depths. They've been coming like this for billions of years, since before you were born, since before Earth existed, since before the universe began, and they'll keep coming long after you're gone, long after Earth is gone, long after the universe itself dissolves back into the ocean. Eternal, unchanging, constant, and right now, in this moment, they're here for you, lulling you, soothing you, carrying you gently towards sleep. Sleep now, let yourself drift. Let the waves carry you, let the ocean hold you. You're safe here, on this shore, in this room, in this body, in this moment. Safe because you know what holds you, know what surrounds you, know what cradles you beneath all the temporary forms and structures. The ocean beyond the stars, the infinite depth, the eternal peace. Dream of the ocean, dream of floating, dream of the deep places where stillness lives. And when you wake, tomorrow, or in a few hours, or whenever rest is complete, remember Remember that you're always standing on the shore of everything, always at the edge where the particular meets the infinite, always one step away from the ocean. All you have to do is wade in, let go, trust, float. The ocean is always there, always accessible, always waiting to hold you when you need it. You carry it with you now, in your awareness, in your memory, in the deep place beneath your thoughts where peace lives. The journey has changed you, opened you, shown you depths you didn't know existed and heights you didn't know were reachable. And all it, the journey, the ocean, the peace, all of it is yours now, part of you. Woven into your being in a way that can never be undone. The waves keep coming, keep reaching, keep retreating. Your breath keeps flowing, keep rising, keep falling. The rhythm continues, eternal, soothing, constant, and you drift, you float, you let go of the day, let go of tomorrow, let go of everything except this moment, this breath, this wave. The ocean beyond the stars holds you, the shore supports you, the waves sing you to sleep. Rest now, deep rest, ocean rest, the rest that comes from knowing you're held by something infinite, something eternal, something that has always been and will always be. You are part of the ocean, you are part of the shore, you are part of everything, and everything is holding you, cradling you, letting you rest. The waves whisper, soft, gentle, rhythmic. Come back whenever you need, wade in whenever you want. The ocean is always here, always waiting, always holding you. Sleep, dream, rest. The ocean beyond the stars cradles you in its infinite depths, and you are home.